Welcome to Menopause Masterclass 2025, where we will medicate you using education instead of medication. Thank you for
You
joining
know,
us.
there are 8 doctors that we want to apply. We want to apply these because they are critical, and these are usually it lies within this. And for the most part, a lot of us might experience these symptoms, and every one of the symptoms that you are experiences, the healing lies within the 8 laws of health. So, and we know the symptoms might vary for individual. So the 8 laws of health is a framework for the balance, because all we're trying to do when we get to menopause is to balance the hormones that's left, balance those hormones. So if we can dig into these 8 laws of health and see where we lie, and try to balance it, then it will make a big difference for us. Okay, so we are going to work with that, and we start with nutrition, which is big on the list. And nutrition is paramount when it comes to the balancing of our hormones. And a whole food, plant-based diet, and research has shown that this definitely have some implication on the hormonal balance. So if your hormone is imbalanced, then you can consume or make the transition to a plant-based diet. And this plant-based diet is going to help to alleviate some of your symptoms. And when we talk about a plant-based diet, we are eating a lot of fruits and vegetables and nuts, legumes, whole grains, seeds, and so on, that will help in supporting the hormonal balance, as opposed to when we consume um, when we consume foods that are from animals. The foods that comes from animal, in most cases, you're going to find that they are doped with a lot of hormones, and not just the hormones that is placed, um, not just the animals themselves do have hormones as well, and hormones that they are given as part of their development process. It interferes with our hormone as human being. It definitely interferes with our hormone. They take over the receptors that is within our bodies, and once it take over our receptors, it's very difficult to get them out, and that creates a problem. When we take in hormones or foods as from plant-based, like our flax seeds or sesame seeds, and our soy that is loaded with our phytoestrogen, then it creates a better balance for us. So the balance is better. So our soy products, those are products that have phytoestrogen. And it's very different, because there are those who would want to say that the estrogen in the animal product or the plant-based product is the same. They are not the same. So soy has, and this is why people in the Asian community, they don't come down with too as much cancer as us in the black community, and other groups of people, maybe white as well. They don't come down with as much reproductive cancer as we do. But the soy products, they do have the estrogen, which will help in the alleviation of the deficiency or the deficit that we have. Now, so it supports our body, and they are very, very friendly. So consuming foods from these groups will help. Now, because we are prone to the loss of bone density, we also need to consume a lot of leafy green vegetables which support our bone, and those are vegetables that are high in calcium and magnesium. Yes, we do get calcium and magnesium from our vegetables that we consume, and it does help in in alleviating some of these symptoms. Now, omega-3 fatty acids from walnuts and chia seeds and flax seeds help to reduce inflammation and support brain health. So those are things that comes into play. I don't know about um, everyone, but I do know that there are people who really experience menopause from the perspective where it feels like it's definitely driving them crazy. So it is also important to support your brain health. Brain health is crucial because when the hormones start going crazy, then it is very difficult to not experience some level of stress. And this stress is is like you're going crazy. And literally that's what I hear. That's based on the feedback. One lady called me and she said, you know something, you people need to talk more about menopause because I just didn't realize that I was going through menopause. I wake up and I don't want to go to work. I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want anyone to talk to me. And I just feel like I'm going crazy. I don't know if I want to cry. I don't know if I want to scream. I don't know what direction I want to go. It's like so many things are happening at the same time. And I think I was really going crazy. And I was like, wow, I didn't know that it wreaks so much havoc in the body of people. So it's something that we need to take seriously because it literally drives some people crazy. Then the vitamin D, which is deficient, which can, you know, have a big impact on how our body manages stress. So vitamin D works synergetically with our calcium for bones because our bone density gets lower and lower as we make the transition into menopause. And if we are not complying or it is just not there within our diet by any means, and we know we have to supplement, it's not like it's going to fall out of the sky, or we can eat any kind of food that is going to give us enough vitamin D. We have to take in the calcium in our green leafy vegetables to support our body, but the vitamin D supplement is very important for the absorption of both. They work together for both of them to be absorbed. So if you're out there in the sun and you're not, you out there, the calcium that you take in needs to be absorbed. Vitamin D needs that calcium, and calcium needs vitamin D, vice versa. So our nutrition is critical. It's very important. And we're going to look at the B vitamins are very important to support our brain as well. So we have to pay very, very close attention to our nutrient levels. Our B6 is very important to support menopause. Our vitamin D, our minerals, all of those are critical. And if we have if we're running in a deficit, it's going to create problems, and it is problem with the entire endocrine system. So we have to think about our thyroids, how it's working. We have to focus on the blockers that is preventing us from absorbing some of the nutrients. So there are so many variables that we have to zero in on as women when we get to this point in our lives. We have to zero in on all of it in order to overcome. Our vitamin E is very important. So E is critical. It helps to manage hot flashes and vaginal dryness. Okay. And we get a lot of vitamin E from our sunflower seeds, or almond and avocado. We take our B complex, which is going to nourish our neurons, because the neurons need to be nourished so that they don't fall out of line. And the B complex is like your go-to because it is a full panel of all the B complex you need. And sometimes, because it's all combined, you might not get enough from just taking the B complex. But if you can zero in on what you're deficient in, and I would recommend like a B6 supplement, and that B6 is, you would want a higher level than the ratio that is within a B complex. Because the B complex it has all of it, but then the ratio, you want a higher level of B6 to help in normalizing the hormone issues that you're facing, and the vitamin E. And this will also help in the absorption of the others. So vitamin E, B complex, and we know that we must aim at all costs to maintain a balanced diet and that takes care of nutrition. So we point out the primary, and zinc is also important. So zinc is critical. It's so crucial for your health and well-being of the liver, because the liver and all the organs, the kidney also work in the whole process of synthesis. But you don't want to have a fatty liver during this time when you're going through menopause. And of course, this is the time when it tends to pose itself for the most part. You're going to have your liver being clogged. And we have to constantly flush our liver. And in flushing your liver, it means that you might need to draw back from some of the heavy starch food that you eat, and the fruits as well that will help to clog the liver. So because it's the sugar that is stored in the liver as fat, and it makes the liver fatty. The zinc, what it does is it supports the liver to it supports the liver to produce the enzymes that is necessary for it to function effectively. And we have a lot of different different herbs that we can use, and this is just not the end in all, but I'm going to give you a few of them right now. So we have black cohosh is one that is big. This is powerful, and it helps to reduce hot flashes and night sweat by influence the body thermoregulatory system. And the reason why we get these hot flashes is because our thyroid, there's a thermostat that is regulated by the thyroid. And when the thermostat don't work as it should because of the deficit in the hormones, estrogen, what you find that your body start overheating, and in the body warming up like that, what it does is start sweating in an effort to cool the body down. So the sweating itself might be very annoying, but it's just a way to prevent you from overheating or burning up inside. So you have to give thanks for the fact that you sweat, because if you didn't sweat, your body would ignite, and you probably will just get short out, like your brain stop working because of the heat that is generated, because the thermostat is not regulating properly, and that is regulated by the thyroid. And that black cohosh helps in that regulation. So you also have red clover, which is rich in isoflavonoids, and this is one herb that you could drink all day, every day, without having issues in terms of its toxicity. It's a very mild herb and it mimics estrogen. So you could make your red clover tea and you could fill up your water bottle with this and drink it all day. It helps maintain heart health as well and bone density. So you have a double warmer right there with your red clover. So you know red clover, and when the season get nice and bright, it would be nice to just go out and harvest them if you can get them now. But when you could order them online and use them. But it's always best to get your own because it's available in abundance all over the place. Okay, so red clover is one, and then maca. Maca is another. Maca root is a herb, which is an adaptogenic herb, and it's predominantly from Peru, but it helps us to manage stress. So it's an adaptogen which is good in managing stress and supporting energy levels and hormonal production. So it also improve libido and moods, the mood swings. So it helps you to feel a little bit happy because you have more energy and it improves the libido. Okay, so maca is one of them. It's an adaptogen, and there are many other adaptogen that you could include within your diet in order to manage the stress, the stress. And the adaptogenic herbs mean that it helps your body adjust. It's like an adaptation to stress without frazzling out and becoming weak. And then we have the dong quai, and this one is referred to as commonly known as female ginseng. This is another herb that is extremely good, and it helps in strengthening your reproductive system and support blood flow to the pelvis. And that is very important because in these areas, I mean, the pelvis get weak, and you lose the bone density from that area, and it's also good in helping supporting vaginal dryness, so you get to overcome that, and it is overall good in supporting reproductive health. And we can jump into exercising. And for women who are going through menopause, you want to make sure that you exercise. Exercise is very, very important. It's crucial, I must say, during menopause to maintain bone density and muscle mass. And this is one way of doing it. It helps to reduce all the other variables that implicate you or lifestyle disease that might want to come on at this time when we talk about the joint pains, when we talk about the loss in muscle mass. When you lose muscle mass, it invites the diabetes that will come in. Your A1C will go up, and exercising, gaining muscle mass will help to reduce the rate at which these things confront us. Now, so you exercise 2 to 3 sessions per week, or just walk. It can significantly as well reduce osteoporosis, which is also become a greater risk once we get to menopause. And it is also very important for weight management because during menopause we gain a lot more weight, okay, because our metabolism slow down. Now, you could do aerobics exercise, cardiovascular exercise, but it is very important to do a combination because in order to gain back muscle mass, according to my understanding, aerobics and cardio, they are just different, so we have to balance it out. And we know exercise improve our circulation, and the circulation is what brings the nutrients to those areas or all the areas that's implicated for what is available. And it releases endorphins as well that combat mood swings and depression. And you can aim to do at least 150 minutes of exercise for the week, and hopefully that should be enough, to support. And another thing that is important is stretching. For us, it's very important to stretch your neck and shoulder. And you have different types of stress and stretch exercise. Because what this does is prevent you from getting freeze joints. Some people might have their shoulder becoming frozen because of the low lubrication that is in the joints. So stretch is very important. Stretch in every form, and you can go online and find different ways of stretching. So that will definitely help. So, and you don't want to do very vigorous exercise or stretching by any means, especially if you're not sure where your bone density lies and lifting 40 pounds, and then you have a broken bones, and then you have to deal with that. You want to start out with very light weights. You could just do a can of bean, and you do a repetition for a while, and then strengthen, and then you move up to, a bigger weight. So that will make a difference, you know, and you have to know what your limits are. So when you do that, just make sure. And these are things that will support you. So if you're experiencing tension, so, most people neck and shoulder stretch will relieve the tension that you're experiencing. And then you could take some peppermint tea, and that is very good for reducing tension in your shoulder and in your neck. And if you're experiencing any tension in your chest, you could do things like hibiscus tea. You could either do the flowers or, what we call sorrel. That helps to relieve the tension in your chest. Because once it's in your chest, we can assume that it's a heart issue. Now, and then for your hip, we want the ginger tea is also good. Stretches that, relieve stress. So you can take chamomile tea. You can do things like a butterfly pose, would open up your hip. And once you're doing that, and these are different teas that can support the different parts of your body if you want to do them individually, you know. So those are different things that you can do. If you're doing deep breathing, a tea that works very well is holy basil. So there are different teas that support different parts of the body when you do different things. So it varies depending on what your target or your goal is. And then we have supplements for the joints, especially if we're experiencing inflammation. So we know turmeric is on top of the list for reducing inflammation. So if you're experiencing inflammation by any means, whether it's joint inflammation, pain in the muscles, stiffness, then turmeric is like your go-to for that you use naturally. Ginger, if you combine the turmeric and the ginger, it reduces the inflammation and pain. The ginger is like a stimulant and a driver of the turmeric, so it helps it to get into your system faster. And also, in doing that, it brings oxygen and nutrients to the muscles and joint while supporting the digestive process as well. So we have turmeric, we have ginger, and we have stinging nettle. And those are three things. The nettle leaf is very rich in minerals like calcium, magnesium, and silica. And the silica is very important for us in the loss, especially when it comes to the loss of collagen, because silica plays a critical role in this stimulation of the production of collagen within the body. So nettles support bone health and reduce muscle ache as well. It has that section and it is a gentle diuretic, stinging nettle. So, and we can find stinging nettle in the spring. Just watch out for them. It's just that they don't like you, but you ought to love stinging nettle. It will sting you if you ask me. So you have to just be mindful when you try to harvest it. And we want to include in our diet, and I mentioned B6 as well. B6 is one of the vitamins that's very important. It helps to produce serotonin and dopamine and or GABA neurotransmitter that regulate our mood. So when we are making this transition, we want to include B6 in if you buy a B6 and I buy Solgar, and if you buy one and they say take one and you are making that transition into menopause or you're in menopause, you want to take two. And it also helps to reduce the imbalance within our body, and it helps in the metabolism of estrogen and progesterone generally, and it also helps to regulate cortisol. So it plays its part. It is also important for to support sleep because when we having this disturbance, so it helps us to sleep. So if you're experiencing insomnia, then B6 is a supplement that will certainly support the production of, if we're getting serotonin and dopamine, it means that on the other hand, we will be producing melatonin, which will help us to sleep. Another thing is evening primrose, which is also another supplement that will help. It's a herb that will definitely help in the production or in production and the regulation of estrogen and progesterone. So all of these things are very, very important. Now, when in taking all of these supplements, hydration is important as well. We have to drink water because if we don't drink water, hormone metabolism is not going to occur in an effective way, because if we're dehydrated, then you're going to find that your liver don't function effectively, which processes and eliminate hormones from the body. So if it's excess of one and too little of the other, it would not be, your whole metabolism is definitely going to be off. So taking in enough water is essential for detoxification and cooling down of the body. Those those sweats that you're experiencing and the flushes, if we're drinking and hydrating our body, then that would be what it would reduce the symptoms or those night sweats. And if we want to normalize or hydrate our system, it would be good to start from early in the day. It's not, most people probably drink their water after they're done working. But if we start hydrating early in the day, we will have nice turgid cells in the evening. And then we don't have to run to the bathroom waking up because if we're not woken up by night sweats, then we're going to be running to the bathroom to urinate in the night. So it's very important to start the hydration process in the day. And then we can infuse our water. We can use infusion, or we can put a piece of peppermint, and sooner or later they're going to be popping up out of the earth. You can cut up a cucumber, which also support the cooling down process. So if you add those to your water, then that would make a difference. So if you and that will also give the water some kind of flavor. That and most people have a lot of aversion from just drinking water. So if you infuse it, it might make it easier to drink it. So if we drink the water, then our skin tenacity would also be better. And we don't want to have too much, and in menopause there is dryness. The skin become dry, and it's not just dry, it becomes soft and flabby. And if we drink more water, then that will help to maintain the turgidity of the cells that is under the skin, or that makes up the skin. So those are ways that you can help to relieve, or by drinking enough water. We need vitamin D for moods and bones. We mentioned that. So we definitely need to supplement with vitamin D. And there is no two way about it. We mentioned that already. And as we mentioned, herbs that will support our liver. And we know about dandelion root. And this is very common. The root of it definitely help in processing, and in processing the hormones, and support the liver in general in the detoxification process. And then we have milk thistle. Milk thistle is another herb which is very, very important. It helps to protect the liver cell from damage while promoting the regeneration process of healthy liver tissue. So milk thistle is something you want to add to your complements of herbs, because for all the the hormonal imbalance that we experience, whether we are at puberty, whether we are at menopause, or we are in before menopause, it is all the liver plays a very important role. And then we have the burdock root, which is very good. It both help in supporting the liver filtration process, and it is also very powerful in balancing the hormone, and it is also a very nourishing. It has a lot of nutrients within it. It supplies us with a lot of iron, and the complement of nutrients that is present in burdock, it far outnumber a number of other herbs, or a lot of herbs. It is very nourishing. And it is one of those herbs that you want to also have. This is also one of the herbs that's in the ISIAC formula that helps to ward off many kind of cancer, or help in the preventative process, as opposed to treating the cancer. Now, breathing or taking in fresh air is just another thing that we don't do. We hardly ever even breathe. And it is very important that we practice to breathe and take in fresh air. And it is something that we have to stop and actually do, like really stop. And we can practice that by breathing daily. We inhale slowly through the nose, 4 counts, hold for 2 minutes, and then exhale for 6 counts. And when we do it this way, this is a simple technique, and it can significantly reduce the frequency and intensity of hot flashes when practiced regularly. And I recommend that we stop 3 times a day and we do that in the morning, midday, and in the evening. That's what I recommend because it is very important for us to have this level of oxygenation. And the way we breathe normally, it doesn't bring enough oxygen into our body. So therefore, our body has to maintain the balance and decide which part of the body do we send this oxygen that come in this minute and which part needs it most, because that's what technically happen within our body. It has to be deciding where it should go because we don't breathe, we don't deep breathe, we don't take in enough oxygen. And for the most part, we're locked up in the house. We don't go walking because it's cold. And then, we suffer from mental clarity, brain fog, and all of those. And those are things that we can just simply do, whether we are driving, walking, just whatever we do, we can use that to help. Now, now there are some herbs if we have any issues, because some people, when they deep breathe, they might have issues. So if we want to nourish our respiratory system, we can take things like mullein leaf, we can take peppermint, thyme, eucalyptus, and all of these can be taken internally. You can take the peppermint, you can drink the tea, you can use the oil, and I love oils, and peppermint diffusing into the house just make a difference. Thyme is a very diverse herb that we use in our cooking every day. We use it in a very sparing way. Marginally, we use thyme. However, sometimes we could just take a handful of thyme and just make some tea out of it. When you make the tea, make sure you are doing an infusion and you're not boiling it like for a long time. You hot the water, you pour it on the thyme, and you leave it there so that it can infuse and then you drink it. In most cases, eucalyptus, you could do the same, but a lot of people, and in most cases, you'll find that you get the oil from the eucalyptus, and you can drop that in your water and you can drink. And hot water, warm water helps to break it up and get it into your system. And these are all herbs that support your respiratory system. If you're having clogging in your sinus area, you are having any kind of irritation which is obstructing the airway, then this would definitely help. So they support the respiratory system, and is very helpful during menopause when breathing pattern may be disrupted by anxiety, because you have a lot of anxiety is part of the issue that comes along when you get in hot flashes. So it's these herbs come in very handy, and we need to get rest. And this is like a juxtaposition for women who are going through menopause who have difficulty sleeping. It you can't sleep. So how are you gonna get rest? You go to bed tired, you wake up tired, and you just don't get enough rest. Now, what can you do in order to prevent that? So, all of what was mentioned earlier, so we talk about the nutrition, we talk about drinking enough water, believe it or not, because water is going to support breathing, it's going to prevent dryness, it's going to help to regulate your temperature, it's going to help to maintain your turgidity, and it is going to support regulation of hormones and metabolism in general. So rest is very important. So if we don't get enough rest, then our hormonal regulation is going to be further off, even though we're going through menopause. I know this is a challenge, but we have to do everything in order to get rest. Now, hormonal change does disrupt sleep, and we already established that. While night sweat can cause more trouble for us. So we are waking up, yet we are not getting enough rest. Now, we have to make an effort to create the
Wait, just
environment
finish the damn thing, naman.
for sleeping. So, first, in order to effectively sleep, it's like we're creating a sanctuary to sleep, and that is our bedroom where we go to bed. You want to go in there, and the only thing you're going in there to do is to sleep. You want to make sure it's not too hot inside of your bedroom. The temperature is very, very important. 65 degrees Fahrenheit is best in order for you to sleep. You must have a dark room, because if it's not dark, you're going to have low penile secretion. It's going to further drop your hormonal levels, and it's going to wreak more havoc within your body. So you need dark, quiet. You don't want to have too many things that is on your bed when you go there. You don't want to have the TV on. You don't want anything there to disrupt sleep. Now, and you must establish a consistent bedtime routine with signals that it's time for you to go to sleep. So you go to sleep 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, whatever time. I don't know what is convenient for you, but you want to go to sleep at a particular time and wake up at a particular time. You must avoid all blue lights, and those are the screens, at least 1 to 2 hours before bedtime. So it means you're not going to be on your computer, you're not going to be on your phone, you're not going to be on any of these that is disrupting your sleep. Okay, so it suppresses melatonin production and can worsen insomnia. So sleep is very important. Herbs that can support sleep is like valerian. It's powerful. It's a very powerful sedative that help to promote deep relaxation and sleep. You could take in the form of tincture, or you could take in, I do sell a nervine that really helps. It's a combination of the valerian and passion flowers and other herbs. Particular, it's very effective. So passion flowers is also another one, and lavender. So you could get lavender shower gel. You could do the lavender oil and all of those that just help to set you in that tone or mood to go to sleep.
But they already signed Sylvia's time yesterday was
So we look at nutrition, we look at exercise, we look at the different herbs that we can use in the different segment. We look at stretching as in the same context as exercise. Okay, supporting that. All right, and then we looked at B6, and I want to spend a few minutes just talking about how we can support our brain health, because it's just one of the things that definitely come into play when we are going through menopause. It might not seems like you're going through anything, or it's about to drive you crazy, but it is very crucial that we spend some time to secure and maintain proper brain health. And as I mentioned before, I also mentioned that before in terms of the supplement that we need to take in order to support the brain. But we talk about turmeric as anti-inflammatory, but it's not just an anti-inflammatory for your joints, it's also an anti-inflammatory for our brain. And before we go into that, we also want to pay attention to the things that we need to avoid. Avoid things like alcohol. We need to avoid things like coffee. Those are things that are very, very important. That we stay away from them while we are going through this process or going through the menopausal process. We don't want to take in any kind of coffee, any kind of, there are some people who have issue with spicy food as well, regardless of what kind of spice. So the spicy food and sugar, we must change the way we eat. So we must manage what we're taking in. So our alcohols or caffeine and refined sugars, which means that all that is made from these things, you want to get rid of them out of your diet. So it's very important that you manage those, the sugars and the starches, the heavy starch. Not that you don't need starch, but you don't need half the amount that you consume, because it is going to break down to sugar and it's going to lead to the same thing. So when we take in caffeine and alcohol, what it does, it messes with your neurons, the nerve, and they trigger the hot flashes. And if we continue, it causes dilation of, our blood vessels, and the central nervous system is constantly under attack. So different things trigger different people, but I thought I might mention those. Now, when we think about our brain health, which is very important that we protect. As I said before, the B complex is very important. It's very, very important for us. So we want to make sure that we're taking B complex while we are going through this. And I also isolate B6. And I mentioned that you should add B6 to you should add B6 to your diet. You must add it separate. So there are some herbs that support brain health, and we talk about maca, which is an adaptogen. We can also, I want to mention ashwagandha, which is another herb that is very good for supporting our body when we are undergoing stress. So that's important. We talk about turmeric, and turmeric is good for the amyloid plaques that build up on your brain, which cause further problem when you can't remember anything. You are going through menopause and you're experiencing brain fog. It's very important that you bear that in mind, that you could add some turmeric to your diet. And then you also have your rosemary, which is very good, and your ginkgo, which stimulates circulation to the brain, because we have a way of losing
Very
it.
American ginkgo.
Turmeric and ginkgo. So those combination definitely help when we're going through menopause to deal with the stress that we experience, the brain fog. Sometimes we leave the room and go somewhere to do something, and then we forget. We don't remember what we are going to do. So these herbs definitely help to power the brain so that we can function more effectively. So we talk about the rosemary and the turmeric, and we have ashwagandha, and we also have rhodiola. which is very, very important as well. And there are many, and the ginkgo is good, as we said. So these herbs does support the brain. So it's a real holistic guide that we want to follow when we are going through menopause. It's not just an isolated thing. I'm going to take turmeric, or I'm going to take ashwagandha. It is really holistic. It's a big picture, that the big picture we have to look at. And if one thing is missing out of your diet, you're going to find that you have issues, literally, with the whole body. So one thing go off balance, then the whole body become imbalance. So nutrient deficiency can lead to imbalance. Just one, you're deficient in iodine, and it messes up the whole system.
Welcome to Menopause Masterclass 2025, where we will medicate you using education instead of medication. Thank you for joining us. Remember, you are special. No, sorry, very special. Did you bring a friend? Please share the link that you used to join this platform. Thank you.
Positively in real-time external stressful environment. Reacting positively in real time when faced with stress can be challenging, but there are several strategies you can use to stay calm and centered. 1. Grounding techniques. Focus on your surroundings and engage your senses. Notice 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. This can help you stay present and reduce anxiety. 2. Positive self-talk. Replace negative thoughts with positive affirmations. Remind yourself that you can handle the situation and that it's temporary. For example, say, "I am capable and in control." 3. Mini meditation. Take a few moments to close your eyes and concentrate on your breath. Even a minute of mindful breathing can help calm your mind and body. 4. Smile. Smiling, even if you don't feel like it, can trigger the release of endorphins and help reduce stress. 5. Step back. If possible, take a brief break from the stressful situation. A change of scenery, even if it's just stepping outside for a few minutes, can help you regain perspective. 6. Focus on solutions. Shift your focus from the problem to potential solutions. This proactive approach can make you feel more empowered and less overwhelmed. 7. Visualize calm. Imagine a peaceful scene or a place where you feel safe and relaxed. Visualization can help reduce stress and create a sense of calm. 8. Engage in physical activity. If appropriate, do a quick physical activity like stretching, walking, or even some jumping jacks. Physical movement can help release tension. 9. Use humor. Find something to laugh about, whether it's a funny video, a joke, or recalling a humorous memory. Laughter can be a powerful stress reliever. 10. Ask for support. If you're in a situation where you can, reach out to a friend, family member, or colleague for support. Sometimes just talking about what's stressing you out can help reduce its impact. These techniques can help you respond to stress positively in the moment, allowing you to stay calm and handle the situation more effectively.
Welcome to Menopause Masterclass 2025, where we will medicate you using education instead of medication. Thank you for joining us. Remember, you are special. No, sorry, very special. Did you bring a friend? Please share the link that you used to join this platform. Thank you.